Alright, here we go, chat. These are the multicolored cards. These are usually the ones that I say are, because you want to be two colors in a deck, usually going to be the deck definers that you're going to pick, and they're going to be sort of how you're planning on playing the colors, I imagine. So, let's see what we have. So, Albalo Ancestral Echo is blue-white, 3 mana, or 1 blue, 1 white. Flying, ward 2, 2/2. That for 3, exile another target creature or artifact you control, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So this is trigger battle cries forever. Or artifacts entering the battlefield, because that was another thing, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's a flyer. It's a 3 mana 2/2 flyer. It's probably good enough. And if you even get the ability on something useful once, it's probably great. Once or twice. I think this card is good. I don't. There's a bunch of white cards that enter the battlefield effects. The blue cards liked when artifacts enter the battlefield. Some of them. So I think this card is pretty good. Akawali the Seething Tower. Another 3 mana, 3/3. With Descend 4, as long as there are 4 more permanent cards in your graveyard, Akawali the Seething Tower is a 5/5 that has trample. As long as there are 8 or more cards in your graveyard, it's a 7/7 that can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. This is nuts. This is huge. There were a bunch of ways in black to sacrifice creatures or discard things, and just a bunch of dudes in green, and big dudes, and dudes that liked the Descend. So this is, I mean, this could quite easily on turn 3 be a 3 mana 5/5 with trample, which is insane. This card is very strong, I think, or can be. If you get the fuel for it, this card can be very strong. Amalia, oh my god, I don't even know. Right, 2 mana 2/2 with ward, pay 3 life. Okay, whenever you gain life, Amalia explores, then destroy all other creatures if its power is exactly 20. What? Okay. There were a lot of ways to gain life. There was a lot of lifelink in black, and there was ways to gain life in white as well. So I think you take this. I think this is a good card. I think this is a good card just because whenever you gain life, it explores. I think that's all you're really looking at here. It's a 2 mana 2/2 with ward that is annoying, and then whenever you gain life, you explore, which is what your deck is doing, I guess. I don't think if it has exactly power 20, which is 18 explores later, ever comes into effect. But hey, maybe it does. And if it does, you just lethal your opponent because it's got 20 power and you just smash them in the face. I don't know. This is a weird one, but I mean, it's interesting. The Ancient One, 1 blue, 1 black, Descend 8. The Ancient One can't attack or block unless there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, which with black you could do very fast, black and blue especially. For 4 mana, draw a card, then discard a card. When you discard a card this way, target player mills cards equal to its mana value. This is scary. This is a 2 mana 8/8 that is an 8/8 fast, right? With all the black ways to discard a card and all the blue ways to mill yourself, including this one, your opponent needs to remove this or die. I think this is if you see it, pick it and build the deck. I think this is that powerful. This is another, like, the blue and black I was not impressed with. Well, the black I was, but the blue I was not impressed with. I would play blue for this card. My only problem with it is it doesn't have any self-protection. But, I mean, there's ways to bring it back in black, and in blue you can always run countery spells and things like that to keep it alive. This is it's so big. Like, it's so huge early. Because, like, turn 3 or 4, you could have Descend. Well, maybe not Descend 8. Maybe. Depends how fast you can get Descend running. But I think this could be powerful. A 2-mana 8/8, there's no way that's going to be weak. What is this? Pakal 1000th Moon. Sorry, my throat's getting very sore. Okay, it's a 3-mana 1/2. Whenever you attack with one or more non-gnome creatures, put a +1/+1 counter on him, then create X 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens that are tapped and attacking, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on this guy. This is good. This is, if you're red-white aggro, this is very good, right? Play this on turn 3. You've probably already got creatures out. Swing, triggers, make extra dudes. Next turn, if they haven't killed it, swing, trigger, make dudes. This gets scary fast. Because he makes 2, right? First attack is 2, second attack is 3, third attack is 4. At that point, your opponent's probably just dying. As long as you have non-gnome creatures on the field. This is scary. This is a very, very scary aggro card. That name. Another 2-mana, 2/1. Sacrifice another creature or artifact. Put a +1/+1 counter on him. I mean, black has already has a lot of, like... White has make a lot of dudes, and black already has, like, sacrifice stuff and delve and things, or descend. I think this is probably good. I would prefer it did something like +1/+1 and gain a life, so they went with the woman who heals you, the rare version of this color combo, but whatever. The Belligerent. 4 mana, blue and red, and 2. Whenever the Belligerent attacks, create a treasure token. Until end of turn, you may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. I think it's a crew 3. It's a 5/5. You have to crew 3. I don't think you're likely to get this off. Because you play it, your opponent sees it, and then has a turn to deal with any 3-power things. I mean, from then on, if you play a creature, but then you have to play a creature, crew it, swing with it, create the treasure token, and you've already spent your mana playing the creature, so it's not like you're playing cards off the top too much. I don't think I like this in Limited. Not as much as the other cards we've been seeing, not even close. This seems a lot more like finicky, tricksy stuff. And I think stuff like this, like, would I prefer to have this on turn 4, or the black-green 3/3 that becomes a 5/5 that becomes a 7/7 on turn 3? Easily the other one. This is not as good as that. Because that's probably going to be a 5/5 by the time this gets crewed. And then I can choose whether I'm blocking it, or I can just keep creaming you in the face for 5. Nah. I don't think this is very good. Caparocti Sunborn. Okay. 4 mana for a 4/4. Very good. Well, even stats, so we like that. Very good in an aggro color, at least. When it attacks, you may tap 2 untapped artifacts or creatures you control. If you do, discover 3. This is another, I don't know how good Discover's going to be. This is a 4 mana 4/4. If I saw it, I would take it. If I was in red-white and I saw this card, I would pick it. And I would trigger it. And I'd discover, and we'd see how good Discover is. Captain Storm Cosmium Raider. 2 mana for a 2/2. When an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature on target pirate you control. This is good. This is very good in, I guess, red-blue pirates. And then you just make a bunch of treasure tokens, and this just pumps +1/+1 counters onto things. This is very good. This is a powerful card. This is like a, I'm guessing this is kind of the core of the pirate artifact list. But it's uncommon, so you probably get it, so it's fine. Deep Fathom Echo. A 4 mana 4/4 again, we like that. At the beginning of combat on your turn, Deep Fathom Echo explores. Okay. Then you may have it become a copy of another creature you control until end of turn, but it keeps the +1/+1 counters. This is good. This is very good. And so it's a 4 mana 4/4, which is obviously just, you know, efficient. And then at the beginning, so after you play it, it explores immediately. And then you can have it become a copy if you have something bigger. I mean, you're not going to attack with it first turn because it's going to have summoning sickness. But from then on, you just get bigger. It just gets bigger and bigger, and you just turn it into whatever you need it. This is a very good card. Gishath's Son's Avatar! We already saw this guy. This is a reprint. Oh, not we already saw this guy. This is a reprint. 8 mana, green, red, white, vigilance, trample, haste, 7/6. Whenever he deals combat damage, reveal that many cards, put any dinosaur cards onto the battlefield. This card, sadly, it costs too many colors. This card is good, but it's, I mean, honestly, if this is your first pick, just take it. Fuck it. Just take this card and play green-red with a splash of, with 1 planes, so you can play Gishath. Why not? Green-red seems like it has enough dinosaurs to make that work, and this is a absolute beater. Why not? This card, I would say this card is too expensive, and the triple colors don't work, but honestly, in this set, you can probably make it work. It doesn't look... white looks like the aggressive color, and red. And if you're, you know... if you're cutting red and... or if you're cutting one of those colors to go with your green, like... I just think you can probably make this guy... this guy is probably playable in Limited. And if I see him, I'm going to fucking run him. 100%. If he's my first pick, we're playing Gishath. That's it. It's Quinth, firstborn of Gishath. He's so small. 1 red, 1 green, 2 mana for a 2/3 with haste. When Ixalan, firstborn of Gishath, enters the battlefield, you may pay 2. When you do, target dinosaur you control deals damage equal to its power to another target creature. It's a fight effect stapled to an adorable creature. I love it. This is great. 2 mana, 2/3 with haste. It's just great. And then it's also a fight effect if you need it. This card is fantastic. I think it is. Also, he's so small and adorable. I love the dinosaurs in this set. I loved the dinosaurs in the previous Ixalan. I'm loving the dinosaurs in this set. Kellen, Daring Traveller. I have seen Kellen already. So, his adventure, journey on, create X map tokens, where X is 1 plus the number of opponents who control an artifact. So, 2, probably. 1, maybe, in Limited. When Kellen, Daring Traveller attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card with mana value 3 or less, put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it into your graveyard. I mean, yeah, this guy's probably good enough. You just turn 1, play Journeys On to get yourself a map token for later. Turn 2, play a 2/3. Turn 3, start swinging, get value from cards off the top of your library. It's good. It's just a good card. Yeah, 100%. It's just a good card. Kutzil Malamet Exemplar. Okay. 3 mana for a 3/3. Your opponent can't cast spells during your turn. Whenever one or more creatures you control, each with power greater than its base power, deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Okay. 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 So green-white is +1/+1 counters is what I'm drawing from this. And if so, this is a good card because it's a draw engine in green and white, which they don't usually have a great deal of. Because we saw an early white card that puts +1/+1 counters on things when it enters the battlefield. So if you have that down, even if it's just on itself and you swing and you draw, this card is good. I'm going to say that about almost all of the gold cards, I imagine, because all of the gold cards are just going to be your like your core. This is what the deck is built around. So yeah, I like this card. Master's Guide Mural. It is 5 mana, and when it enters the battlefield, create a 4/4 white and blue golem with golem artifact creature token. Sure. And then for 7, you can craft with an artifact, which can be from the graveyard, to make Master's Manufactory, which can tap to create a 4/4 artifact creatures. Activate only if Master's Manufactory or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control this turn. Well, I mean, I think this is good in limited. I mean, it's 5 mana for a 4/4, which is a bit overcosted. But if you transform it, it's just create a 4/4 every time you play an artifact. This set has a lot of artifacts in it. So it's just but it doesn't cost any mana. It's just create a 4/4 every time you play an artifact. So I think this is actually decent, like playable. Again, I think all the gold cards are going to be good, but this is definitely, decent. Takes a little bit to get there, but I think it's strong. Molten Collapse. 2 mana to choose one. If you descend this turn, you may choose both instead. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. It's 2 mana, destroy target creature or planeswalker. This is great. Fantastic. You don't care about the other one, but sometimes you might get both and then sweet. But it's a 2 mana, destroy target creature or planeswalker. It's great. Yep, it's great. The Myco Tyrant. Okay. 3 mana for a star with trample. Power and toughness each equal to the number of creatures you control that are fungi and or saplings. So it's at least a 1/1 by itself. At the beginning of your end step, create X 1/1 black fungus creature tokens with this creature can't block, where X is the number of times you descended this turn. That's probably really good. Because you already want to descend a lot in black and green. Or not as much in green, because green had giant dinosaurs. There were a couple of descend cards, but not as much. But in black, you could trigger this at least once every turn, if not more. So this can fill your board real fast. And then it itself gets super big and has trample. This again has to be just this is a 10 out of 10 game winning limited card. It has to be. It fills the board. It rewards you for doing what your deck wants to do, and it's just a massive dude. Yeah, this is just good. This is just good. Nick Hansil, Current Conductor. Okay, so it is a Merfolk. We thought blue, green might be Merfolk. Whenever a creature you control explores a land card, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. That's nuts. That's insane. Whenever a creature you control explores a non-land card, put a +1/+1 counter on this. This card's nuts. Like, think about that green that had just explore X. You just have this and then explore twice. the following turn and either double ramp with lands or make the creature itself like a 3/3 and this into a 4/5. This, if you build an explore deck around this Merfolk Scout, it's gross. This card is again the core piece you need. This makes the explore deck go. Palani's Hatcher, 5 mana for a 5/3. Other dinosaurs you control have haste. This is great. This is gross. When it enters the battlefield, create 2/0/1 green dinosaur egg creature tokens. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 1 or more eggs, sacrifice an egg to create 3/3. So this is a 5 mana 5/3 that immediately has a 3/3 with haste. Because this also has haste. So the turn this comes down, you are attacking for 8. This is disgusting. All of these big dinosaurs have been so good. Your opponent has to remove this. Because you end your pre-combat main phase, and this just makes a 3/3. And it has haste, because all dinosaurs have haste. And if they don't kill it by the following turn, you make another 3/3. This is gross. This is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. Green-red dinosaurs is going to be strong if you don't get absolutely mullered by the vampires early. Quintorius Canned. I like that Quintorius is a Planeswalker now. Right, 5 mana for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, Quintorius deals 2 damage to each opponent. You gain 2 life. Okay. +1, create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. Sure. -3, discover 4. Again, depends on how good discover is. But does that... Does discover count as exiling? I can't remember how it's worded. And then -6, exile any number of target cards from your graveyard. Add 1 red for each card exiled this way. You may play those cards this turn. Then you get to do the drain your opponent and get a bunch of mana. Okay, Quintorius is good. It does what you want him to do. When he comes down, he protects himself by making the spirit creature token. And he's also on 5 immediately, so he's only 2 turns away from triggering his -6. Which, depending on what's in your graveyard, can just be game-breaking. So Quintorius is powerful. In case people didn't realize Planeswalkers were powerful, this guy is powerful. At least I think, in Limited, this is probably game-winning. Unless you can get rid of it immediately. Saheeli, the Sun's Brilliance. How is Saheeli Rai after losing her spark? 2 mana, 2/2. For 2 mana, create a token that's a copy of another type creature or artifact you control, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. It gains haste. Sacrifice it. She's good. That is a good effect. Just copy something. It gains haste. Attack with it. You can sacrifice it for whatever. That's good. That's powerful. This is a very powerful effect. This is strong enough that your opponent has to answer Saheeli when she is played, I imagine. Because you just copy anything and then just start swinging freely in Limited. Yeah, this thing's gross. There's so many of these gold cards are just nuts. Sovereign Okni Ow. Okay, I don't know who that is. Okay, it's 4 mana for a 3/4 with Ward 2. When he attacks, for each creature you control with power greater than that creature's base power, put a number of +1/+1 counters on that creature equal to the difference. So, this guy is exponential growth. So, if it's got 1 +1/+1 counter, it gets 2. It then has 3 +1/+1 counters. Wait, is that right? Put a number of +1/+1 equal to the difference. No, so if it's got 1 +1/+1 counter, it gets 1. Then it gets 2. Then it gets 4. Then it gets 8, 16. Yeah, so this is exponential growth stapled to a card. I mean, if you have the +1/+1 counters to make this thing go, your board is getting thick, right? Like, if is it? Yeah, it is. It is because it's just, yeah. It just increases every single time. Yeah, this is powerful. Again, it doesn't do anything the turn you play it because it can't attack by itself, and you need to have +1/+1 counters on things to make this work. But there were a bunch of ways to put +1/+1 counters on things. And if you do, and this starts swinging alongside them, or if this has +1/+1 counters on itself, things can get out of hand fast. Okay. Squirming Emergence. 3 mana. Fathomless Descent sorcery. Return to the battlefield to target non-land permanent card in your graveyard with mana value less than or equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. This is probably gross. 3 mana, I have 10 cards in my graveyard, return Golter to the battlefield. Right? Especially if you're in green and black and you're doing the whole discard and mill from the top of your library anyway. This is just gross. I think. I don't know. This is, again, this, if it does nothing, this card is, if this card is absolutely useless in its worst state and absolutely game breaking at its best. So I'm going to have to give it a meh because there's every chance that this is just fucking useless. Oh my god. Uchbenbak, the Great Mistake. Okay. It's a 5 mana 6/4 with Vigilance and Menace. And you can return it from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it if you have 8 or more permanents in your graveyard. I mean, this is a good card. You're going to have a bunch of stuff in your graveyard anyway. You can play it from your graveyard regardless of how it got there and put a finality counter on it. And then it's just like a 6/4 beta with Vigilance and Menace, and you can block if you need to. This is a good card. So I think if you're going blue-black or you see this card and you're open to it, I think this is a good card. Veto, Fanatic of Ixalan. That guy. A 4 mana 4/4 flyer. This card is already fantastic. Whenever you sacrifice another permanent, you gain 2 life if this is the first time this ability is resolved. If it's the second time, each opponent loses 2 life. If it's the third time, create a 4/3 white and black vampire creature token with flying. This is insane. Because white and black both want to do sacrificey things. This just rewards you so hard. Especially this does everything I wanted. So there's the uncommon guy that has sacrifice, get a +1/+1 counter. There's the rare woman who has when you gain life, explore. This triggers both of them. This triggers off one to trigger the other. And if you get 3 triggers in one turn, you just start pumping out flying vampire demon creature tokens. Your opponent has to answer this when it's played or they're just fucking done. Assuming you can sack things. Which, if you can't sack things, then why are you running this card? Again, this is a card. This is a card that has such good synergy with its colors that it's just, if you see this card early on or you're already building the deck and you see this card, you are just ecstatic. Whale of the Forgotten. Okay. 1 blue, 1 black. Descend 8. Choose 1. If there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard as you cast a spell, choose 1 or more instead. Okay. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Sure. Target opponent discards a card. Sure. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Um, this is okay. Because usually on turn 2, this is just pick 1. You're not going to have descend 8 by turn 2. And by the time you do have descend 8, I mean, you can't guarantee its removal because your opponent's probably holding a card, or at least one card. So it's return a card, probably make them sacrifice the land they've been holding, look at the top 3 cards, put one of them into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. Is that good? It's fine. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot for 2, I suppose. But without the descend, it's kind of just average. So, oh my god, I can't say the name. Lava Tongue, whatever, that one. 2 mana for a 2/2 with Death Touch. Okay. At the beginning of your end step, if you descend this turn, each opponent may discard a card or sacrifice a permanent. It deals 3 damage to each opponent who didn't. This is good. Rewards you for doing descending, which you're going to be doing in black anyway. And, like, I admit that your opponent gets to decide, so it's a little bit better. But if they can't or refuse to do, like, if they've got no cards in hand and refuse to sacrifice anything on the board because then you'll be in the advantage, this is just going to start hurting. And it's a 2/2 with Death Touch, so it just blocks anything on the board, which is really nice. This is a good little card. I like that. That is a nice little card. Artifacts. Okay. Buried Treasure. 2 mana for an artifact treasure. You can tap, sacrifice, add 1 mana of any color. 5, exile it from your graveyard, discover 5. Again, I have no idea how good discover is. I think probably not great. So this is probably not great. Probably mediocre-ish. I mean, it's got fixing, I suppose. Tap it for essentially is a land. Actually, maybe it's not bad. Yeah, it's not great though. Careening Minecart, a 3 mana 3/3 vehicle. When it attacks, create a treasure token and crew 1. Sure. I mean, it's probably okay because it creates treasure tokens and it can be crewed by anything, but I'm not too excited about it. Cartographer's Companion, a 3 mana 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, create a map token. Sure. If you're doing explore, it's probably fine enough. What is that? Chimil the Inner Sun. 6 mana. Spells you control can't be countered. At the beginning of your end step, discover 5. I don't know. For 6 mana, the first line of text being completely non-interesting because it's not going to affect you in limited is bad. But at the beginning of your turn, at the end of your turn, sorry, you discover 5 every turn? That's you getting a 5 cost or less from your deck every turn without having to pay its mana cost. I think this depends. I'm going to go with I don't know because I don't know how good Discover is again. Compass Gnome, 2 mana for a 2/1. When it's a battlefield, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and shuffle. This is fine. Again, this is just okay. Contested Game Ball, 2 mana. When you're dealt combat damage, the attacking player gains control of contested game ball and untaps it. Okay. Tap 2, tap, draw a card and put a point counter on contested game ball. Then if it has 5 or more point counters on it, sacrifice it and create a treasure token. Maybe this is good, actually. If you're the aggressive player, but then it doesn't do anything by itself. But then you just wait, keep it in hand until this is your last card. Play it, use it to draw immediately, and just keep swinging because you're using it to just draw cards. This is probably good. Probably good in an aggressive deck. I don't know if you can use it in a control deck because you're probably just getting mauled. I don't know. I think they did a card similar to this before and it wasn't great in limited. So I'm going to say probably not great. Dig Site Conservator. 2 mana for a 2/1. Sacrifice it, exile top 4 cards. Exile up to 4 cards from a single graveyard. When it dies, you may pay 4 if you do discover 4. There's a lot of graveyard shenanigans. This probably is good enough that you might actually want to take it. Because you just pay it for 2, sacrifice it, exile 4 cards from their graveyard. And then if you have spare mana, you can just discover. I don't know how good discover is, but this is probably good with how many graveyard interaction descend stuff there is in this set. Disruptor Wanderglyph. Okay. 4 mana, 3/4. Whenever it attacks, exile target card from an opponent's graveyard. Again, with how much graveyard stuff there is, this might be playable. I don't know if it's good. It's 4 mana, 3/4, so probably not, but Hoverstone Pilgrim. 5 mana for a 2/5 flyer with ward. Put target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. Sure, it's whatever. Again, with how many cards there are in graveyard stuff, this might be good, but do you really want to put cards back from your opponent's library into their from their graveyard into their library? Probably not. Hunter's Blowgun. A 1 mana equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Equipped creature has Death Touch as long as it's your turn. Otherwise, it has Reach. That's actually pretty good. For a 1 mana artifact? Well, no. Artifacts probably don't get played very much, so no, probably not. Matsal Tani... whatever. The Great Door. 3 mana. To tap, draw a card, then discard a card. Whatever. 4 mana. Transform, activate only if there are 4 or more permanent types among cards in your graveyard. 4 or more isn't that hard to do. Wait, artifact, battle, creature, enchantment, land, planeswalker. Yeah, creature's probably in there. Artifact's probably in there. Land you can probably get in there. Yeah, and then you can discard an enchantment. It's not that bad. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. What does it transform into? The Core. Add X mana of any one color or X the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. I mean, that is powerful. Like, so when you transform it, it's already going to be tapping for 4. That's a lot of mana. This is like good, I think. Is it good in limited? No, probably not. Maybe. There's some big cards in this set. Could be. But you're going to want to play probably in like black-green. So maybe. I don't know how many... yeah, because you could be playing big green cards in black-green. Yeah, I think this is playable. The Millennium Calendar. 1 mana, 4. Whenever you untap 1 or more permanents during your untap step, put that many time counters on the Millennium Calendar. Oh, it's an alternate win condition. 2 tap, double the number of time counters on the Millennium Calendar. When there are 1,000 or more time counters on the Millennium Calendar, sacrifice it and each opponent loses 1,000 life. This is not good in limited. Too slow. Too many ways to get interacted with. It's not good. Nope. Roaming Throne. A 4 mana 4/4. Well, I like it already. With Ward 2. Yeah. As Roaming Throne enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Roaming Throne is the chosen type in addition to its other types. If a triggered ability of another creature you control of the chosen type triggers, it triggers an additional type. This is fantastic. Vampires, merfolk, dinosaurs, pirates. Even humans, because you don't, the guy that cares about the gnome trigger is not actually a gnome himself, he's a human. So I think human is also... But yes, fungus. There's a bunch of types in this set that trigger off themselves. This is fantastic. I think if you see this, you just take it. This is very, very good. 4 mana, 4/4 that double triggers any triggers for your, like, creature type that you're planning on building around is very good. Runaway Boulder, 6 mana flash. When it enters the battlefield, deals 6 damage to a creature an opponent controls with cycling. Yeah, sure. Maybe if you're looking for some extra removal, you can just play this. I don't think it's very good, but it's not the worst card in the world. Scampering Surveyor. My 4 mana 3/2 when it enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land or cave card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. This is alright. It's a ramp. It's a 3/2. Yeah, I'd probably take this. Especially if you're playing big cards and things. I plan on playing big green dinosaurs every time the game will let me. Yeah, I'll probably take this. Sorcerer's Spyglass. 2 mana, a Sorcerer's Spyglass enters the battlefield, look at an opponent's hand and choose any card. Activated abilities of Sorcerer with chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So, like, this is like sort of like Pithing Needle-ish. I think Sorcerer's Spyglass is a reprint. I think we've seen this before. But this is not good at limited. Not at all. Sunbird Standard. 3 to add 1 mana of any color. For a... Wait, what? 3 for a tap, add 1 mana of any color. Craft with 1 or more, 5. 1 or more anything? Exile this artifact, exile 1 or more other permanents you control and or land cards from your graveyard. Okay, sure. So it just... Craft with anything for 5. Into Sunbird Effigy. Flying Vigilance Haste. Sunbird's Effigy's power and toughness are equal to the number of colours among the exiled cards used to craft it. For each colour among the exiled cards used to craft Sunbird Effigy, add 1 mana of that colour. This is probably not good, right? I don't know. For flyer. Flying Vigilance Haste. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know how to evaluate that card. It's fine. No, I think it's bad. I think it's bad. I don't think you're planning on playing more than 3 colours, so it's a 3/3 flyer with haste that can generate 3 mana. Flying Vigilance. But it can make... It's probably fine. It's probably fine. I'm going to say it's fine. Final offer. It's fine. Swashbuckler's Whip. 1 mana for an equipped creature. So equipped for 1, which is nice. Equipped creature has reach. 2, tap. Tap target artifact or creature. And 8 tap to discover 10. Which I said I don't think the discover 10 is particularly good. So, I don't know. Having a creature that can tap down any creature for 2 is decent, especially if it's on something that you can move around a little bit. This is probably okay. This is probably fine in limited. Am I excited about it? No, but it's probably good enough. Tarian Soulcleaver. 1 for a 2-cost equipment, or it requires 2 to equip. Equipped creature has vigilance. Nice. Whenever another artifact or creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. This is good. This is good in a weenie strategy. I think this is a good card. No, I like this. Because you, like in white-black, you play this and just sacrifice a bunch of stuff and just sort of buff something up and it has vigilance. This is a good card. Yeah, I think this is good. 3-fold Thunderhulk. Okay. 7 mana for a 0/0 that enters the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. So it's a 3/3 for 7. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, create a number of 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens equal to its power. Okay, so it also comes with 3 1/1s. Tap 2, sacrifice another artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on 3-fold Thunderhulk. This is probably not good enough. Because at 7 mana, you play this. It's a 3/3. it summons 3 1/1s. Next turn, you swing with it, and if you sacrifice all of the 1/1s it comes with, it's a 6/6. And to be fair, it then makes 6 1/1, so you can keep sacking. But, I mean, okay, maybe it is better than I think. Because it's when it attacks, so you've got more on the attack if you sacrifice into it. But it doesn't have any protection. Nah, I think it's too expensive. Well, maybe not. We'll have to see. This could be too expensive. It could be insane. Because if you get this down and you start swinging with it and pumping it with the artifacts that it makes... No, it's a win condition by itself, right? Because it makes artifacts, pumps itself with artifacts. Yeah, no, I'm going to say this is good. I'm going to say you take this if you see it. Why not? Because this can just be your win condition, and then you could just have the rest of your deck be like weak, low-end stuff just to hold the ground until this comes out. Yeah, let's say that. I think this is fine. I think it's a good card. Throne of the Grim Captain. 2 mana. For a legendary artifact that mills for 2. Craft with a dinosaur, merfolk, pirate, and vampire for 4. Right. Into the Grim Captain. A 7/7 Menace Trample lifelink hexproof that whenever it attacks, each opponent sacrifices a non-land permanent. Then you may put an exiled creature card used to craft the Grim Captain onto the battlefield under your control, tapped and attacking. Okay. I know what you're going to say. If somebody actually successfully does this on turn 4, or if you successfully do this on turn 4, you win. But hear me out here. In what universe do you actually get a dinosaur, merfolk, pirate, and vampire into your graveyard by turn 4 to do this? In Limited. You just don't, right? It's just not happening. If somebody does it, this thing wins them the game. So I should say it is a win condition. It is good. Because I'd like to say that. But I just think it is... Because this is the thing. You're either playing... I don't think you can play a deck that is dinosaurs, merfolks, pirates, and vampires. Because they have synergies with themselves. Like the dinosaurs like the dinosaurs, merfolks like merfolks, pirates like pirates, and vampires like vampires. But if you do just play the good ones that don't require each other... then maybe you can make this work. I don't think it's good, but I think it's funny, and I think I might try and make it work at least once in drafts if I see it. Treasure Map. We know Treasure Map. We've already seen this before. 2, for an artifact that you can tap 1, tap, scry, put a landmark counter. If there are 3 or more, you can remove them to flip it and create 3 treasure tokens, and then you can sack treasures to draw cards. It's too slow. It's too slow for Limited. Almost always, even if it's a slow format, I think it's too slow. I don't think this is playable. The lands. So, Captivating Caves. So these are the caves. So this one at least doesn't come into play tapped. Taps for colorless. Add 1 mana of any color. Sure. Sacrifice it to put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. I mean, it's not terrible. Cavern of Souls. Cavern of Souls is a reprint, but Cavern of Souls is a very good card. Very, very good card. So, this being back is going to make control players kill themselves. Because now, anyone who's playing aggro creatures or whatever, if they're playing an archetype, can just play this on turn 2 or turn 1. Name a creature type, start playing creatures of that type, and you can't counter them. So this is a very, very powerful card and a reprint. So I don't think this is particularly good in Limited. You're going to be playing specific cards, but you're not likely to run into counter spells. So if you see this card, you probably take it. But if this is your mythic rare for the pack, you are very upset about it. Because I don't think it's good. Not in limited. I think in standard this is going to change everything. But maybe, I don't know. But yeah, Cavern of Souls is a good card. Cavernous Maw, another cave. Add colorless. 2. Cavernous Maw becomes a 3/3 elemental creature until end of turn. It's still a cave. Activate only if the number of other caves you control plus the number of cave cards in your graveyard is 3 or greater. Not good in limited. You can't control the number of caves you get. Echoing Deeps, another cave. You may have Echoing Deeps enter the battlefield tapped as a copy of any land in a graveyard, except it's a cave in addition to its other types. Not really much interest in limited. Forgotten Monument, it's a cave. Other caves you control have tap, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color. It's not particularly exciting. Hidden Cataract. Enter the battlefield tapped. Okay, so the colored ones do enter the battlefield tapped. And you can pay 5 to discover 4 for the blue one. I mean, if you see it, you probably take it in blue because it does something, but, you know, it's neither here nor there, I don't think. Oh, they're all discover 4. Okay, so you probably take these, but again, I don't know how good discover is, and also these are not, you can't really guarantee you have a whole bunch of caves. There are a lot more caves than I was expecting, but like, if this is your uncommon, how mad are you? I don't think caves are going to be a thing in limited. Pit of Offerings. Pit of Offerings for tap when it's battlefield. Exile up to 3 cards from graveyards. This one is actually good because you can stop people's graveyard shenanigans. Colorless. Add 1 mana of any of the exile cards' colors. Okay. Yeah, it's just good to stop. This is maybe the best cave I've seen so far, and even this I wouldn't pick over, you know, actual creature cards. Promising Vein. Creates a colorless and sacrifice it. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it on the battlefield. Oh! Ew. This is like Evolving Wilds, but it costs mana. Ew. That's gross. I hate that card. No. Okay, and the dual the dual lands are slap lands. So the white-blue one for 3 mana becomes a 2/3 white and blue bird that makes map tokens. It's got flying. That's actually pretty good. It's got flying, so it's got evasion, and it makes map tokens. I think this is good. The white-green one is a 3/3 that gives other creatures you control +1/+1. This is good if you're going... Yeah, this is another good one. Why go wide strategy in white-green? In white or green, this is good. Restless Reef. So for 4, it becomes a 4/4 blue-black shark with Death Touch. Ooh. And when it attacks, target player mills 4 cards. This is, again, very good for the Descend strategy. And it's just a 4/4 with Death Touch. Like, this is a 4-mana 3/3. This is a 4-mana 4/4 with Death Touch. This is good. Restless Ridgeline is a 4-mana 3/4 red and green dinosaur creature token. Now when it attacks, target attack creature gets +2/+2 until +2/+0 until end of turn. Untap that creature. This is honestly probably the worst, right? I mean, well, no, because it's a 5. When it attacks, another target attacking creature. Yeah, because you have to attack with 2 creatures. This is probably the worst of the 3 for the 4 we've seen so far. And Restless Vents is a 2/3 black and red insect creature token with Menace. When it attacks, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. This is good. It's got Menace. I like this. Good card. Sunken Citadel, another cave. These were not caves, no. Enter the battlefield, choose a color, add 1 mana of the chosen color, add 2 mana of the chosen color, spend this mana only to activate abilities of land sources. Sure. It's not great. Another cave. Colorless. Sacrifice it, destroy target non-basic land opponent controls, play my such. Okay, so it's... Oh, and you create a treasure token? This is good. This is better than... Oh no, it's not, because you get to search with the other version of it yourself. Yeah, I mean, no, it's not good. And these are the full art lands. I actually really like these ones. This white one looks great. This blue one, I don't know. It looks cool. This black one is very blue. The red one I really like. And the green one, obviously, I'm a big... I just, yeah. I think it looks great. All right. And that's it. That is all of the cards of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. That took me 6 hours, 15 minutes. My throat feels like it's sandpaper. But that was cool. There are some very cool cards. I think blue really hasn't got much that excited me. But red, green, and black have got some real monsters. White looks like it could be good as just the aggro color. Because it makes a lot of dudes. I think there's some really cool cards. I am very excited to go try this set. We're on Friday, do a sealed. I'm really hoping to get some big green dinosaurs so I can just make a big green dinosaur deck and just punch people with it. But, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what I get. And then, obviously, from now, after this Friday, the following week, it goes up on MTGA. So we'll be drafting this set, so people will be able to see how it all goes. Anyway, it was nice hanging out with everyone. I hope everyone had a good time. And had fun discussing all of the cards we had to look through. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow should be more Pokemon. More Pokemon randomizer. We should be back to the normal schedule. But I have no idea what my throat's going to be like tomorrow. I might barely be able to speak. So we'll have to see how I'm feeling. But it was good fun hanging out with everyone. And hopefully I will see you guys again. Have a nice rest of your day.